that's coming up
That
the
sounds
tower.
more like a dungeon crawl now.
It's a reverse dungeon crawl, though. You've already gone through the tower to get up there, but
Yeah.
they're the ones doing the dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
And
the
you
elevator's
have
no
to-
longer working.
Right. Oh, can there be a wizard elevator? Alex,
Where'd Santa Nathan go?
Where did Santa Nathan go? Oh, he died. He got replaced by Tim Allen.
Oh, that tracks.
This was a prequel to the Santa Claus the whole time.
Great.
So our first movie up, and I know that you're going to fight me on this, for a holiday story hook is based on Die Hard. Isn't that fun?
So fun. There are some people on the internet who would say Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. And there are
Yeah.
some people who maintain that it is. And then there are people who say that it's a movie set at the time of Christmas.
Which is probably the most accurate. Probably
But,
the
you
most
know,
accurate.
I don't really care one way or the other about it, because I'm not a huge... I don't think I've seen more than, like, the first one part of the way through.
You saw, wow, the first one part of the way through?
Yeah, I don't have a memory of things.
I've watched Die Hard so
I've
many
definitely
times.
never gone out of my way to watch Die Hard.
I feel sad for you now.
Listen, John McClane.
I know that there are people who, like, I think literally Bruce Willis once said that it's not a Christmas movie, but Fox Entertainment had actually come out to make a statement that they do consider it a Christmas movie. So even among the
Yes,
studio and the people that were involved, it seems to be contentious. But for me, the whole reason that John McClane is even at Nakatomi Tower is because it's Christmas, because he's going to his wife's Christmas party, and so it's all centered around that, which I think is enough of a reason to just say that it's a Christmas movie. We have a couple others that we're going to be talking about that are also not necessarily Christmas movies, but are considered that for a similar reason.
They're home around the holiday movies.
They are movies that might have Christmas somewhere in it, but it is just a framing device. It is not really central to the story. So in that regard, I'll say that, yeah, Die Hard doesn't really count in that, because it's really a framing device and they use some of the elements in it. But they do use Christmas as the framing element, so we're gonna say okay.
Unlike how the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Yeah, see, the Grinch Stole Christmas has to happen at Christmas. That's the thing. Yeah, 'cause it's the whole point of the movie. So now we've explained it to folks. There's Christmas
Good
adjacent
job.
movies.
For everyone still here, let's get into what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's actually get into it. So, the main framing of this that I wanted to write a story hook about is the general idea that in Die Hard, John McClane goes to this Christmas party for his wife's office at Nakatomi Tower. Terrorists raid the building and take everybody hostage. And now John McClane is on a mission to stop the terrorists at the tower, so before they can inevitably steal all the money. That's pretty much what it amounts to.
Plot questions, first of all.
Sure.
Are they there to steal money?
Ultimately, yes.
Okay, then why don't they do it when the tower is not having a Christmas party?
I don't know if they knew that the Christmas... No. They must have known that the Christmas party was happening. Oh, I think I can answer this for you. They needed somebody to actually access... They need, like, Mr. Nakatomi, or the guy there, in order to access the vault. It's happening at a Christmas party when, like, the rest of the building is empty, except for this one Christmas party. And
Which has all the employees at it.
which has the employees of the one office.
Okay.
That one office, because it's a whole tower, but none of the other offices are there. Security is very low. It's like at night, and the person that they actually need in order to get into the vault is there at that time. And they frame it like when you start, they frame it as if they're terrorists and they're coming to do terrorism and like blow everything up. But that's just a cover for the fact that they just want to steal everything from the vault.
The second question for the plot is, what's John McClane's day job?
Oh, he's a police officer from like
Oh.
from like the East Coast. That was the whole thing where like he and I just want to call him Carl Winslow. They're having this back and forth over the radio about this, and they're relating to each other based on their job. He's somewhat familiar with this, but I'm going to assume that John McClane is also not particularly familiar with dealing with direct terrorist and hostage situations. It's not really made clear that that's a typical thing for him. So my thinking is, you have a story where your characters end up in this place, and a tower is a really good setting for this.
Sure, Wizard Tower, got it.
You got a wizard tower. It's a big one, right?
You have terrorists trying to steal the wizard's robes. Wait, artifacts.
Artifacts. Sorry. What are the wizard's artifacts? What do you think the wizard's artifacts are?
Staff, spellbooks,
A Roderick Cube.
a Roger, his robe and wizard hat.
His robe, his beard. All the power for the
stealing
wizards
Merlin's
comes from the
beard.
beard. Yeah, we always know that. So the wizard, so we have to create a time where the wizard is in the tower, but security is very minimal for them to attack.
During some kind of ritual.
Your party also has to be there for a reason too.
The
That's
ritual.
Okay, your party is involved in the ritual,
Yep.
or trying to stop the ritual.
They're probably there to protect the ritual.
Oh,
they're
okay.
the security.
Oh, here's a good way to set that up. One of your characters is sick, or you're trying to do a resurrection for one of your player characters, and so you have to go to the Necromancer's Tower in order to cure, in order to bring that team member back from the dead.
Cure the death.
Yeah, or you have somebody who has lycanthropy, so you theme it as like you're going to like a cleric tower or something like that, and something to that effect. But whoever it is can like help you. So now you kind of know when you can interject this into the story. It's just it's when one of your party members needs actual help that involves magic. It's just the wizard and it's your team. The terrorists, maybe they figured that the wizard's all alone because the wizard's normally alone, but you happen to be there, and that was not part of their plans. In similar fashion to when John McClane was not in the plans for Hans Gruber. So now you guys are there. And you might be one or two down just because the ritual's taken place and you're trying to resurrect people, and they might need to actually be involved. But everybody else can be involved in this. So now you're at like the top of the tower, and they're coming up. And you're way outnumbered. Because you have to be way outnumbered for this. You got like 10 to 1. They're probably checking all the floors. So you have different people on different floors. Now you can theme this around the idea that your party has to figure out how to deal with the threat that's coming up
That
the
sounds
tower.
more like a dungeon crawl now.
It's a reverse dungeon crawl, though. You've already gone through the tower to get up there. But
Yeah.
they're the ones doing the dungeon crawl.
Yeah,
And
the
you
elevator's
have
no
to-
longer working.
Right. Oh, can there be a wizard elevator?
Sure,
There's
it's
a
magic. Why not?
Yeah, isn't there a spell, I want to say in D&D, that actually elevates you up and down, almost like it is an elevator? I don't remember what the spell is.
Probably.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We'll
Reverse
make it up.
gravity probably would work. So maybe you're not familiar with the tower in its entirety, but I'm gonna guess since you're with the wizard probably is familiar with the tower?
The war, but he's gonna be in the ritual room, inside the vault.
That's true. Do you think that you could ask the wizard questions at this point? No, because the wizard's already in there. Okay.
Yeah. By
Excellent.
the time this begins, anything you would have asked, you would have already asked.
Already in a trance, in a closed room, so now it's
your
the rest
your
of the
party's
group.
on the bathroom break, and the other members of the security group are in the vault protecting him. You swapped out.
Now you're in a tower that you're not familiar with, and you don't have access to the person who knows how this tower works. But you might have familiarity with towers in general?
Sure.
Maybe? Or a
This
map?
is the 5th tower I've been in this week.
I mean, you're an adventuring party. So towers are kind of a typical thing that you have to deal with on a regular basis.
Yeah, all the time.
I love having to deal with towers. It's my second favorite thing to do in games after setting bars on fire.
Fair.
Yeah, that's a whole That's a whole other scenario. You're in that tower, and now very dangerous people are coming up to the tower, and they're trying to steal the artifacts. Although, you don't necessarily know what they're going to do. You just know that there are people, violent folks, that are coming into the tower to try and get something. Maybe they're trying to take out the wizard. Maybe they had a bad run-in with this wizard. You'd have to be able to see them at some point before they get to you. So luckily I guess they're windows, so maybe you could make an observation check or something like that, or perception check.
Yeah, windows, or maybe there's some sort of viewing device that looks outside the tower.
A telescope.
That's not a window, like a crystal ball or something.
Ooh, a crystal ball. Ooh! Fun idea. You have a crystal ball that's on the table. You're in the waiting room of this magical clinic and in there is an early alert system, and it's the crystal ball. And if somebody starts coming into the tower, the crystal ball activates, and it and starts pulsing, and it shows you who's coming in.
Yeah, it's like a door chime from when you walk into a shop.
Yes, it's like that, but definitely more serious, where they're like, alert, alert. The globe talks in my scenario.
In your head cannon.
That's the best weapon, too, the head cannon.
Yes.
Now we're in it. Your party has been alerted to the threat. The threat is now extant, as it were. And so now you gotta actually figure out how you're going to deal with these enemies. Now, there is a thing that I'm thinking about right now, which is you're gonna want to divide and conquer without alerting everyone. So it's kind of a stealthy mission, unless...
Let's split the party.
Let's split the party, I guess. I'd want to avoid a direct assault where the party just goes down and decides, oh, we're just gonna start taking them on, because then one person gets alerted, everybody goes up, and then you're just, overwhelmed immediately. And that would probably be bad.
Obviously, they've got big monsters with them that are difficult to take on.
Yes, absolutely. So you have the big monsters, the big giants, like rock giants or something.
Sure, you've got, mage hounds, and you've got trained rust monsters, and...
Oh boy, yeah. Rust monsters would be good for this, because that's gonna make players really try to be careful around these things and think these things through. So you've got to be clever, which is where stealth characters would really be helpful here. So if you have something
whole party of rogues.
Yeah, do this as a one-shot and have the whole party just be rogues.
I think it would have to be a one-shot, honestly. Or at least a one-off thing.
Right, and one of the reasons is because if you have a character or two that are in that ritual, no one's going to want to keep playing those characters if they're normal characters in the game. You know, they're just going to be sitting back doing absolutely nothing of use.
I mean, they'd be NPCs. They'd be somebody from town that you're assisting or something if that were the case.
You could do that. Yeah. You go to town, and the person in town goes, oh, I need you to get this person to the tower. So you could do it as a quest line, I suppose. The only thing is that I do like the idea of your party being understaffed, essentially, where you don't have access to everybody. The other thing that I'm thinking is, when that alert comes in, if there was, one person who was in that lobby at the time, and the other ones are, wandering around the tower, and then you'd have to, get word to them that something is happening.
Sure, someone's out on patrol, or someone's going pee.
Going back to Die Hard as our example, John McClane is, the one person who doesn't get rounded up as a hostage, because he's, in the other room, and then he has to, work his way through the vents and everything to get to the other levels, and try to tactfully take them out. In similar fashion, you could try to figure out ways to distract or to divert attention from the different characters. I'm sure the wizard's tower, or whoever's tower it is, it's full of arcane devices that could be great distractions. You know what would be fun? If they had, portal guns, or portal wands. It's portal hard. That would also break the game entirely, so... Yeah, you would just be like, boop, boop, fire dimension, bye. There's the possibility that you could have teleportation devices. Like, if you're able to teleport up, maybe they have different teleportation devices between different levels.
Sure, now it's a puzzle tower.
Now it's a puzzle tower. We're just turning this into an MC Escher painting that you just
We're turning
wander
this
around.
into a Pokemon gym.
This is a Pokemon gym. Perfect. People don't understand how much Die Hard influenced Pokemon.
Hot take right there.
Yeah, there you go. Pokemon is just just a Die Hard ripoff. We've established basically what we can do to create like a tower scenario, and that they're coming in. Any ideas on ways that a party might be able to resolve this, or ways that they might be able to go about dealing with an overwhelming force that is encroaching upon them?
Magic.
Okay, well, that does make sense because we are in a magic tower. This is actually, this could actually be a fun thing for a lot of parties, because this is one of the few times that they will have access to a ton of magical devices that they normally would not have.
So I was gonna say, maybe the tower has like this emergency system you can activate if you get like a couple of runes activated, but they're all across the tower, where it just basically everything but the ritual chamber is like flushed out. You know, so it's like this one part of the tower at the top where you can activate this.
Yeah.
And then the ritual chamber, or like everything else gets like opened up to the ethereal plane.
Nice. Nice. Okay.
So what you've got to do, okay, so here's what you got to do for that.
Okay.
Is you've got to go to the 3 or 4 different locations to activate these consoles.
Mm-hmm.
These runic devices, which might have a small puzzle to do it. That way it has to be deliberate. And the last one is in like the top. And once you get to the top, you can activate it and you open up the entire, like, all the sides vanish and it's just a portal to the ethereal plane and kicks every living thing that's not in either of those rooms to it. Either the ethereal plane or the elemental plane of fire, perhaps.
Jeez. Okay.
The ritual room and then the top room that you're doing this from would be what is it? Ethereal anchors.
Okay.
So anyone in them would not be affected.
Sure. So
now what you've got to do with this overwhelming force of creatures and monsters is vent them into space, essentially. Throw them out the airlock.
Okay. So now it's just a mission to try and figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in what you could do then is maybe this group knows a little bit about this, but not fully. So you've got a couple of the buttons or the runes are being guarded by the monsters. So small groups are just like, there's no one here. So we'll have like two or three of our tough guys kind of just hang out, making sure no one touches this thing.
Yeah. It's like in Die Hard, where they have a handful of people that are down by the actual safe, but most of them are up top. So that makes sense. Yeah, everybody else is like looking floor to floor, but they do have a few people that are dedicated down in the Skunk Works to open up the safe. So you can just have people that are down there trying to, we'll put a ticking clock on this. They're trying to deactivate the system so that it can't be used, so that they have plenty of time to steal everything. So now you have a ticking clock that you have to get there before they deactivate the system, or that isn't an option anymore. And it's gotta be like down below the actual main level of the tower. It's gotta be like all the way at the other end of the tower that you have to get to. I would imagine that the wizard has a few little devices in there that would actually prevent them from just accessing it directly. Yeah. But I'm thinking that maybe they got information from a disgruntled former employee or something.
Disgruntled former test subject.
Yes, one of the test subjects that now has the head of a fly. We're also adding in the fly elements to this. So Jeff Goldblum ratted out the wizard. Now your entire group is basically like, okay, if we encounter any of these dudes, it's gonna be bad. So we gotta figure out how to maneuver our way and either distract them or sneak by all of these people in order to get from the top of the tower down to like the basement levels so that we can activate the vent system. so that we vent everybody out into the ethereal plane. That's essentially what we need to do. Okay. What is preventing the group at that point from trying to do, well, actually something that they do in Die Hard, which is get a rope and go down several levels through the outside of the tower?
What's to prevent them to doing that? I mean, I guess you could say nothing. Maybe they do that.
The only thing I'm thinking, though, is that that's the reason why I was saying that there should be basement levels, because you obviously can't rappel through the ground into the basement. So you if you had the rope necessary or the means necessary, you might be able to get through several of these levels. Good way to get around it, you know.
It's also a good way to let the players then take that for themselves and get down several levels, so...
Yeah, exactly. And it might be a good way to bypass several of the enemies. But...
I'd let them do it.
Yeah. But you also have the problem that, okay, so now you have people coming up, and you have people that are down at the bottom. You almost have another ticking clock, which is that you don't want them to actually reach the artifacts, because once they reach the artifacts, they skedaddle and go. They found what they want. So you got to prevent them from doing that and distract them from getting there to the artifact room. But you also have the problem where they're trying to deactivate the system. So you got to get to the system and activate it so that they can go out before they grab everything and leave the tower. So you've got a couple things that are time sensitive. There might even be a way to do some time sensitive stuff in here about like how many moves you can essentially make, and like explain like they're moving up level 2 to 3 to 4 or whatever, and you know we've got like so many rounds before, or you have so much time before we know that they're going to deactivate the system. So this is a neat idea, though. I think that this does probably work better as a one-shot, as will another one we're doing later. You could incorporate it as kind of like a side mission for a main party if you really wanted to.
Good. I would use it more as a one-shot if I was going to, just so you don't have to deal with that and its consequences.
Right, and I think the other thing is that you'd want to have a fairly low-level party to really amp up the danger of having high-level enemies around.
Yeah.
So this would probably be a one-shot, probably for like level 1 or level 2 characters, depending on how you're theming it. It doesn't even have to be like a fantasy Dungeons & Dragons things. In fact, if you wanted to, you could straight up just do this as like a modern-day setting, almost like a Shadowrun kind of thing. Just have like an actual skyscraper, just have an actual skyscraper tower and do something similar. Still could have the magic elements, because it's Shadowrun. But, you know, you could theme it in a similar way. And then, at the end, if your team manages to pull this off, and none of them die in the process, maybe the wizard rewards you with something.
Sure, and if one of them dies, maybe the wizard resurrects them.
That's true. We did originally say that maybe it was the Necromancer Tower, so hey, death is not a consequence in this scenario. Unless everybody dies and the wizard dies. So there's that.
The end.
The end, exactly. Get ready for Wizard Tower Assault 2, which happens in an airport.
Great.
Or a dragon port, depending on how you're theming it. So there's that.
Don't worry, this is just where I parked my dragon.
You have to pay a toll for that. Dragons are very large.
The dragon just breathes on people.
The dragon should have all the gold you need in order to pay for that.
True.
For the parking space. Dragons without a horde are just sad. If folks out there have some other suggestions on how you could actually theme a Die Hard sort of a mission, or if you'd want to do that as a longer term sort of the thing, let us know in the comments down below. And also, I don't know, tell me I'm wrong that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
You're wrong.
Yeah, Alex is going to tell me that all day long. But
You're wrong. Not even all day, like 2 minutes.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.